Decisiveness. Yes, decisiveness is such an important trait to our identity in regards to our masculinity. We give power over our hair loss as if the world is judging us in the same way we are about our hair loss. As if when we look in the mirror and think, oh wow, that looks even worse than yesterday. When we do that and we give power to that, yet the rest of the world, they don't care about that. One of the things they're actually judging us on, especially women, they rate our attractiveness and our masculinity. One of the major things is our ability to make a decision. That's something that's more exclusive to men. When you have a man who can't make a decision, that is a very unattractive quality. It's funny, there's actually an episode of Portlandia on this. I want to say it's like the season finale of season 4. It's like that hour-long episode where it has all the people in line to get brunch at that new place with the mayor or whatever. And there's the version of Fred Armisen where he has like the 80s sweater and the afro, and his wife keeps getting agitated because he won't make a decision. And that was kind of one of the first times I saw that played out. It reminded me of my own marriage. I can think of the earlier years of my marriage, because I've been married like 8.5 years. I can think of the earlier years of my marriage in which that was a thing that when I felt the least respected by my wife was the times when I needed to be more decisive and make a decision. So granted, the way you get through those things in marriage is that you, as the man, you learn to adapt and you change. So the version of me that you see in this video, see, if I did this series when I was your age, this would not be a successful series, because I personally didn't have what it took to have the confidence and the decisiveness that I now have. So in general, being more decisive demonstrates as a man that either you are more experienced, you're more intelligent, or at least you have the confidence to fake it until you make it. Which, come on, let's be honest. You know the truth, right? You know that a year ago when I had like 100 subscribers, I didn't know what I was doing. You know that, right? And I just faked it until I make it. Now I'm in the thousands thanks to you supporting me. But I didn't know what I was doing. I was just playing around. And now this is becoming a more respectable thing. And we're understanding, like I made in another video recently, that hair loss affects us more on the inside than it does the outside. So, but our decisiveness is huge. I mean, we can easily overcome this hair loss thing if we're more decisive about it, which is why I keep talking about finding yourself on that scale of what you do with your hair loss, whether you're going to be a hair transplant guy, a Rogaine guy, an essential oil guy. I just saw a huge rabbit I thought was a fox. Or whether you're going to be a guy who buzzes or shaves it off. What you can't do, you can't keep living your life, continue to look in the mirror and it bothering you and not doing something about it. Because, see, that's why I know personally several couples where the guy, I mean, he either buzzes it off or he shaves it off, and the girl is so attractive. And if you were to compare this couple on TV, it'd be a guy with a perfect head of hair and then the pretty girl. But in reality, what I'm seeing here in Nashville, Tennessee, in the real world, is I'm seeing guys with shaved heads, not much ability to grow hair, but man, look at the girl that they got. And how is that? Well, confidence, yes, but decisiveness. He found his plan, he committed to it, whatever the plan was, and he didn't go around talking about his insecurities as far as his hair loss goes, because that's another thing that is found very unattractive in men, is that it's unattractive for us to talk about our insecurities. Now, I get the sort of double standard there, which is where I come in. That's another reason I'm relevant, and I think I've helped gather 1,000 subscribers plus in this whole thing, is because I created a venue that didn't exist before. Before, if you were dealing with hair loss, then you had to watch somebody's video where they talk about ways to deal with it, like I've already mentioned, and that's very important. But other than that, other than trying to save your hair, there wasn't anybody really telling you, hey, we can move on despite this. We don't have to save your hair. We can still be a confident and valued man despite this. So it is true that the way the world exists, the way the world is set up, the way we are valued as men, is that we can't openly talk about this in the real world. Otherwise, we are seen as weak. We are seen as emotionally insecure, and then therefore we're not seen as masculine. And it's funny because you can surely see the same thing on Facebook. Now, granted, I'm on Facebook, and I've got a lot of friends on Facebook. Not only on my personal site, but also on my fan page for my daddy blog. But what's funny is what you won't see me do on there is actually talking about my feelings ever. I'll talk about what's going on in my life with my family and events we're going to, but I won't talk about my emotions on there because you know it. You know how Facebook is. The way it's set up is, if you only talk about the positive, then people will accuse you of being fake, right? But if you're honest and when you're having a bad day you talk about it, well then everybody wants to throw you a pity party because they feel bad and they want to help you. But as a man, it doesn't really work. You can't do that. And so yeah, there is this whole thing that you need to be honest about how you feel and not hide it, all this stuff in. And while that is important to process these things and have people to talk to about this stuff, the reality is if you go in a public forum, then it really messes up people's identity of you. That's why and I'm learning this now about myself and about this YouTube channel. That's why there's so much relevance in this channel, because even though we're not actually talking to each other, even though maybe the only real communication is through our comments tree or whatever we do, it's showing you that there's validity in how you feel, but that there's perhaps better answers than you're providing for yourself as far as all this goes. That there's actually a form of hope in this, because the thing that we thought was the thing was not the thing after all. I guess like the end of The Matrix or something. You know, any kind of twist ending on a movie where we thought, here's the plot, here's the problem, here's the nemesis, here's the enemy, and in reality, it wasn't, or it was ourself, and that absolutely is true. This is not man versus hair. That's not the plot. This is man versus his own mind. It really is. So, decisiveness is attractive, and I know that's a long trail of events, but I feel that everything I've covered today is very crucial to us moving forward as we deal with our own hair loss. So, what I'm getting at is this. If I were 21 years old, I would not be able to say these things because I didn't believe those things at that point. I've matured to the point where I realize how important it is to simply be decisive and how that demonstrates masculinity. And yeah, there's a double standard in society that we can't talk about our insecurities as men because it makes us look weak. But here on this YouTube channel, we can talk about it, and we can relate that to finding a cure, not necessarily to save our hair, but a cure for the inside. Because remember, for women, they want to feel pretty on the inside and the out. I think for men, it's not about being pretty or attractive on the inside and out as much as it is being confident on the inside and out. And yes, you can be very confident and attractive on the outside with hair loss, absolutely. So, it's all about decisiveness. That is one of the things that makes us attractive as men. Forget about the hair. It's all about being decisive, which is a trait of confidence that the world actually judges us by, even if they won't let us talk about it without looking at us insecure. So let's just play that to our advantage. We won't talk about our insecurities because we're going to overcome those insecurities by being decisive about the reality on how we're actually valued. And it's not by our hair.